everyone. I am Airial, and I am here with Sean Douglas, who is our keynote speaker, number two, because I'm number one, of course, for our Central U.S. Veterans Conference, which is now virtual, of course. And Sean, first of all, I want to welcome you and thank you so much for your patience and your flexibility with all the changes. Can we start off with you telling us about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I joined the Air Force in 2001, like right after 9/11. And I joined as a tactical aircraft maintenance specialist. So I'm an F-15 fighter crew chief. And that's what I've done pretty much my entire career. I've worked depot, which I've basically ripped apart the airplanes and put them back together. I've worked the flight line, launching and recovering. And I've worked phase, where back shop is like, we bring them in, do a bunch of inspections on them, send them back out, make sure they're good to go. And I was a drill instructor for Air Force basic training from 2009 to 2013. And then in 2014, I became the base that I'm at right now is Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. So on base, I became the base's suicide awareness trainer and also the lead master resilience trainer. So we have comprehensive airman fitness. The Army has comprehensive soldier fitness. Mm-hmm. The Marines have the total force, whatever it's called for them. It's all these resilient skills and all that. So I became the lead trainer for that program on base. And, been doing it ever since 2014. And now I'm a professional speaker in and outside of the military.
Yeah. And how do you manage all of that? Because you're full-time military.
I'm active duty Air Force right now.
Yep. I'm active duty Air Force. Yep. So how do you balance being a speaker, a successful one, and your radio show and the baby coming along?
Yep.
And
yep. So I have a great job. I have great leadership. They've seen the impact that I can have with events that we've held on base, events that we've held off base. But they've seen the impact and they said, hey man, as long as the mission gets done and you leaving for a day because I don't take 30 days leave because you remember, when you're active duty, you're like, oh, I'm going to take like 30 days of leave. Or I'm going to take 2 weeks. I don't do that. So what I do is I try to find events on the weekends and I just blow my 3 days of leave on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or I'll do it like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll blow like those 3 days of leave. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I want to take the leave and not be forced to use it. But at the same time, I'm taking leave to do something I absolutely love that is not during the week. So really, when I speak at events, they got to be on like a Friday, maybe a Saturday, maybe a Thursday. They don't really like me taking leave on like a Tuesday to go somewhere like in the middle of the week. But I've got great leadership. I got a great commander. And they fully support everything that I'm doing. And then my radio show is in the afternoons at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm already out of work by then.
Oh, wow. See, that's Air Force for you.
Here we go. I knew there was one going to be a. You
knew it.
I knew it was coming. Don't hate me because I scored higher on the ASVAB. Don't hate.
Okay, what was your score on the ASVAB?
I got an 87 in mechanical. I got a 67.
What was your overall score?
Oh, overall was like mid 80s. I don't know.
I was higher actually. Now what? Now what?
I got nothing. We all make the choice.
But so what is your story? I know when we spoke about 6 months ago, 5.
Yeah, I was saying like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, you told me part of your story. Are you willing to share that with us?
Yeah, I think it helps, especially in this atmosphere and in this environment. I think it helps. I grew up in a alcohol-dominated and domestic violence household. My mom and dad split up when I was in first grade. My dad decided that he wanted to join the Air Force. It wasn't even Air Force. He joined the Air National Guard. I'm not hating on the reserves and guard or whatever, but like, it's not like my mom was like, you're not joining the military. And, but it was right around the time of Desert Storm. And I look at it now and I'm like, dude, it's the guard, but my mom was like, you're not joining the military. And no. If it was active duty, I'd be like, oh crap. Well, that's kind of a big deal.
Just like, I'm like, dude, it's the Air Force, but.
Oh, wow.
But, okay.
So So here she is. She's like, I'm just going to divorce. I'm just going to, whatever. And so they did. So in first grade, they split up, and my mom got a new guy who became our stepdad. But our stepdad, from the time I was in first grade to seventh grade, was physically, emotionally abusive to everybody in the house. My mom, my sisters, and I, just all the time. And that's how I grew up. And then in seventh grade, she divorced him, and we lived with my grandparents for a while, for about 2-3 years. And from the time that I was born to the time that I was 18, I lived in 11 different houses, and I attended 8 different schools because like in third grade, we went to one school, lived in a house, and we got evicted. And we moved into my grandparents' basement and lived there. And I finished out third grade the last 8 weeks or 6 weeks in third grade. We then moved from that school and that house to a different house and lived there for 3 years. I went to school there for 3 years, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. That was like the longest I stayed in a place. 2 years, maybe a year, whatever. Like that's as long as we went. Second grade was in one house. Third grade was in 2 houses. 4th, 5th, and 6th, one house. 7th and 8th grade was in 2 houses, same school, but 2 houses. Like it was just insane. So when the military's like, you're in a PCS, I'm like, oh, shucks. Like I was already prepared because my mom, prepared us for that. And I never dealt with the stuff that I saw, the stuff that I just bottled it in. And I have survival skills that somebody from Beverly Hills does not have. You know what I mean? Like I have survival skills to where my mom had to work 2 jobs just to feed us. And I would, in Michigan, shovel snow and make money so that we could also eat. Until you eat cereal or potato pancakes for dinner because that's all you have, you can't tell me you're broke. Just saying. So I didn't deal with those certain things. And when I got into the military, I found alcohol. Yes. I found out that I can crawl into a bottle and not deal with my pain. No matter what I was dealing with, whether it be hard or it's not hard, or I'm deployed or it's not deployed or whatever, I would drink. And by 2006, I was a functioning alcoholic. Joined in 01. By 2006, I was a functioning alcoholic. And I was getting kicked out of the military. And I didn't feel like my life mattered. I literally joined the military because I graduated high school with a 1.9. I was a warehouse manager at Discount Tire in Port Huron, Michigan. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't plan on going to college. I was living with my mom. I didn't have anything. I wasn't planning on anything. I was going to figure it out. So when 9/11 happened, I was like, oh, this is my moment. I should join the military. Like everybody's joining the military. Everyone's patriotic. That's what I'm going to do. And by 2006, I found alcohol and I messed up all kinds. I could never have a relationship. Like because of what I grew up with, I was afraid that I would turn into that. I was afraid that I would turn into an abuser, into a person who didn't respect people. Like I learned what not to do, and I was okay. But at the first hint of trouble, like I was gone. Like I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. Like I would just get like people would just roll me over. You know what I mean? My friends would step all over me. Girls that I was with would step all over me. Like I would just get treated like crap because I was like their little punching bag because I didn't want to turn into that type of person. And so in 2007, my house burned down because I had a huge party, St. Patrick's Day, and I'm in Utah. And at that point, my commander was like, dude, you're done. Dude, I can't do this anymore. You're just so done. So that was, 2007. And I was trying to work my way back. I was in ADAPT, which is the alcohol and drug dependency program. I was doing that for a while. I was like, oh, I'm going to be better. And then, I got married in 2007 and I was like, oh my gosh, see, this is what I need. I need to settle down. That was the wake up call that I needed. But in 2008, after almost a year of being married, I was like, oh, we're way good. Yeah, I'm way good. I can just drink a couple. And so then I started hanging out with some old friends. And I started getting back into that. You know what I mean? I started getting back into that lifestyle. And my wife was like, oh, no. So we ended up splitting up. And December of 2008, I put a gun in my mouth and I was going to end my life. Luckily, I didn't. But, people were reaching out. They couldn't get a hold of me. They were worried. They were, whatever. I was like, I'm just done. If you've never been in that moment, it's almost like you're fighting for attention. Almost, you're like, I'm just so done with life. I'm just so done. And you're just kind of inside hoping that somebody responds. But at the same time, you're like, I really don't care if anybody does. I was at that point where I had the gun in my mouth. I'm just done. I don't want to live anymore. I wreck everything. There's no reason for me to be alive because nobody would miss me. So I don't care. But enough people reached out and they saved me, and they said, hey man, we're going to, help you with whatever you need and put you back in treatment. We're going to get you some counseling. We're going to, whatever. And, talk to the chaplain. So I talked to the chaplains a lot, and I started getting better. I was kind of real intentional. I'm like, and I had cursed God so much. I was like, what? I don't even care. I'm so done. But I said, one more time. Like I just looked at, I remember it. I can remember like I did it yesterday. I just looked up and I said, one more time. One more time. That's it. I give you one more chance. And if not, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to end my life. And within 6 months, I was going to be a drill instructor at basic training because I quit smoking. I quit drinking. I was a way better person. Like I was a literal functioning alcoholic. I would drink when I woke up. I would go home from lunch to drink. I would get home from work and drink all the way until I went to sleep. Like I was drunk all the time, which is so crazy to me right now because I can't even imagine how I got to work because I was drunk. Like, how did I get to work every day? Like, how did I not wreck into something? Like, how did I fully function while under the influence of alcohol? Like, I don't know, blew me away. So now I'm a suicide awareness trainer for the Air Force. I also work for a professional seminar company as their suicide awareness trainer. And it's just a topic that's real near and dear to my heart because I found my passion and purpose when I became a drill instructor. I found out that I was a damn good drill instructor and even a better speaker. And I put my heart and soul into those 4 years. And that 4 years of that drill instructor shaped my future. It absolutely shaped my future. So, and that's what I do now. I love when I'm on stage. I love the passion that I can give to somebody and the energy and just control a room to where I see those aha moments and I say these things and I do these things and everybody's like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? And it's a positive influence, So that's why I love what I do.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. And actually, speaking of sharing, how did you get to the point where you're able to be open and honest about what you went through? Because that's
yeah, that was by far the hardest thing because you have to face your fears. You have to face all those demons, all of them. So in 2015, I met a group of people during my resilience training and they said, man, you got a book in you. Oh my God, you got a book in you. I was like, well, whatever. Like, I'm not writing a book. I don't even like to write. I don't even like to run, let alone write. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do. And so they were, we got to talking and they said, you know what? You got a book. Like, you need to do this thing like full time and you'd be an awesome speaker. And I was kind of like, I'd speak to some high schools and I'd get asked to speak somewhere and I'd go do it. And I really wasn't getting paid for it. I was like, nah, whatever. But in 2016, I was like, well, let me try. Like, let me actually try to find places to speak at. Let me see how this goes. And I did. And I spoke in a lot of places and I was on a lot of podcasts. And what was funny was the book was being written from February of 2016 and I finished it in July. My sister is my book editor. She's an English major. And it looked like my paper was like bleeding, like the document was bleeding. This much red stuff all like, it was ridiculous. And I wrote the book from February of 2016 to July. And then the whole month of July and whole month of August for 2 months straight was rewriting, like moving here, like, and reading it all the way through. I lost track of how many times I would shut my computer and just break down in tears. There's certain parts of the book that I still can't read because when I write, I like to be very descriptive so that you are standing next to me in the story. I tell you what color the walls were, what was hanging on them, what the feeling was like, what the atmosphere was like. Like I put you in that scenario. And the wording is so descriptive that I literally have a PTSD moment where I go back in my own mind and I'm living it in my mind like it's a movie across the screen. I don't see my house. I don't see you. I don't see all I see is that moment when I'm reading and I just like it's an anxiety trigger, right? And I'm just, oh my God. And there's certain moments in that book where I just have to stop and just walk away. Like I need air. Like, and you feel that anxiety, like your chest gets tight and you just feel like you can't breathe. And I just, and people have emailed me and messaged me like, bro, like, holy crap. But I've cried so many times writing that book. But what was the most empowering about it was that when I was done and I submitted it to CreateSpace because I self-published. I submitted it to CreateSpace, put it on Amazon, the Kindle. I was done with the process, right? September 1st. So I did all this, whatever, got pre-orders and all that. I was working on it for the last week of August. I was taking pre-orders and it was great. Debuted at number 8. And at that moment, when I hit the enter button and everything was done, and it was like, your book will be available September 1st, and whatever, I shut my computer and I just sat there for a second and I just started tearing up. I'm like, it's done. It's finished. Like, that's the chapter of my life that I'll never have to repeat it. Like, it's almost like I faced and conquered those demons and I made peace with it. If not for anything else, write something and write your journey, write whatever, live it one more time and just close the chapter. A lot of times what people do is they put a mailbox there, they put an address, they're like, I'm here. Like, I'm living in this right here. Like, they don't move forward. They put the address there, they put the mailbox there, and they say, this is where I'm living. I'm living in the past. It's so incredibly harmful to do that. What I did was I just shut my computer. I was like, that's it. I don't have to live that way anymore. I don't have to have those fears. I haven't drank since last year. Like, I'm over a year sober, have not touched any alcohol, not wine, not even church wine, like nothing, nothing. And people ask all the time, like, do you want to drink? I'm like, no, like, I want to see how far I can go, So I don't smoke. I don't drink. My wife doesn't smoke or drink. Like, we just choose not to. And it's just, I chose to live a better life.
And I love what you mentioned about writing, because I remember when I co-authored a book called Her Story, and it talked about domestic violence. And that was the toughest thing. I was co-authoring 3 books at the time.
Wow.
And that one was tough. And I had told my story before about domestic violence and surviving it.
Right.
But I don't know, it was writing it. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even write it. Originally, I spoke it, had somebody transcribe it. And then I was like, okay, send it to the editor. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And then she sent it back for corrections. And I'm like, reading it like, oh my God. Like you said, reliving.
It's tough. Yep.
And then the anxiety. And I'm like, I thought I was over this, the anxiety, rushing and everything. But like you said, when it was done, and I'll hand the book out, I won't read it over again.
Yeah, I don't. Like, I already read it enough. I don't know what's in there. I don't know.
Done. And it was hard writing it and going through that process, but it's like a weight was lifted.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. And there's a big thing about writing and how healing writing is. And I truly, truly believe that. Because that was the best thing for me. And I want to continue to write to release all the other demons.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff. I know it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But hey, once you go through it, it's like, yes, finally.
Yeah. It is like a weight has been lifted, and I give the book, I'm like, this really happened? I'm like, all that really happened. Yes. All this truly happened.
Do you have the book next to you? Can you flash it?
Yeah, sure. Let me see. Yeah, I got one.
Come on, you're supposed to always have the book like right there. As I speak, I don't think I have mine.
That's army for you. So I got it right here.
Okay, Decisions.
Yep. Yep. Decisions, the power to overcome self-defeating behaviors.
And you said it can be found on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. Yep. Just search the power to overcome self-defeating behaviors, or just the power to overcome, and you'll see like decisions, the power to overcome. If you put that in there, like, it'll show up. Or you just search my full name, I guess, Sean Michael Douglas. A bunch of other authors will come up. But yeah, Decisions, the power to overcome self-defeating behaviors.
And so what do you speak about?
So I have 2 signature talks. The first one is called Live Your Brand. Everybody has a brand. Everybody has values that we live out. So living your brand is nothing more than you finding an opportunity to live out the values that you hold in your heart. And we find those opportunities every day. Every day we're supposed to find these opportunities to live out those values. It's about the talk is basically, you don't need a title to be a leader, but if you live by example and lead your life by example, people will follow you. I promise you. People will follow you. And that talk really resonates with high schoolers, really resonates with college kids, because they're kind of still trying to find their way and all that. But everybody, so I always ask people, like, what is your core values? the military has core values. With the Air Force, it's integrity, service, and excellence, right? Integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. The Marines got one, Army's got one, Navy, Coast Guard. Everybody has core values. And even then, your unit that you're in will probably have some core values. Everybody has core values, okay? In and out of the military, it doesn't matter. Everybody has core values. We lived these core values while in the military. Well, when we get out of the military, do we just stop living core values? Do we say, I don't value anything? My life doesn't mean anything? Is that what, right? So you have to figure out what it is you value. And your top 5 values are your core values. So my top 5 are honesty, loyalty, in no particular order, by the way, if I had to order them, I guess, but just off the top of my head, my 5 values are loyalty, honesty, loyalty, God, family, and love. Or I could say relationships, really, because I have friends, I have family. So like relationships and love. Like those are my 5 that are not negotiable. They'll never change, Maybe the order, maybe, I don't know. God's always number 1, but those top 5 values are what I live every day. If you want to see what somebody values, check your bank account and check your calendar. Time and money are 2 things that people will willingly never give up. Never. If you look back 30 days in your bank account and you tell me that you value family, but yet you're out playing, buying video games, or you're buying lunch, or you're taking trips, but they're with your friends, you don't value family. If you tell me that your calendar, that your time is spent with your family and you're scheduling game nights, you're scheduling time with TV, and you're scheduling like with family, like, okay, this is our family trip, this is our what, then yes, you are living out your values. So a lot of times the reason why people don't achieve their goals is because there's nothing to value in that goal. Values are where you want to be in life, and goals are just the accomplishments along the way. So that's my whole live your brand talk, is what is your brand? And it resonates good with marketers and branders too. When I go to marketing conferences, I'm like, what is your brand? Like, what do you stand for? What legacy do you want to leave behind? And they're like, well, I was like, you're so busy branding other companies, you're not branding yourself. It's so hard to brand ourselves. Like, I'm a speaker, and how do I brand myself? Well, what are my core values? What do I believe in? How do I brand a business? How do I brand a company? What are your core values? What does your business believe in? So if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening, figure out what your business believes in, and those are your core values, and that's your marketing branding right there. This is what my business believes in, and that's how you brand and market yourself.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And then my other signature talk is called The Blueprint to Success, How to Live an Epic Life. Because I want to live an epic life. I don't know about you. I don't want to live a mediocre life. I want to live an epic life. And so what I talk about is 3 things: gratitude, values-based goals, and this is charting your course, literally charting your course. I do something every day to achieve my goal. So what you do is you start with a year plan. Write yourself a letter, okay? Write yourself a letter and say, in a year, I will do this. Like, in a year, I'm doing, how much money am I making? Where am I living? What is my family doing? Am I married? Am I single? Am I this? Like, don't leave anything. I'm driving this car. I have this much money in the bank account. I have this. Like, I want you to write yourself a 1.5-page letter of everything that your life is. I work here. I do this. This is how I make money. This is how I'm whatever. This is where I'm living. And so what you do is you write that year letter, and then you take parts of that letter and you break it down. So for example, I want to be a TED speaker. Like, I want to speak on the TED stage. So here's how I do it. I break it down. 2 events a day, Monday through Friday, is 10 events. 4 weeks is 40. So 40 events a month times 12. So approximately 480 events I try to speak at, right? I try to apply to, right? 480 events. Out of that, I might get 100 because it's so competitive. The speaker world is so competitive. I might get 100. And some of those might be podcasts. So they're not all in-person events. Some of them might be podcasts. Some of them might be an interview for a newspaper. Some of them might be, but I'm applying to speak somewhere, either online or offline. Okay. And that's how I met you was, we were on Speaker Match. I'm like, okay, these are my 2 events. This is I got that one right there, and I applied to it. So out of 480 events, because if you break it down, I'm like, hey, 2 a day. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. Google, call for speakers. Right? Oh, I like that one. Okay, all I need is 1 more. Boom, I applied to 2. Okay, I'm done. That took me an hour and a half. People say, I don't got enough time. You don't have enough time. It's because you're looking at it so big. So break it down. To break down an elephant, you got to eat one chunk a day, right? So that's what I tell people. I'm like, break it down. What are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing the next day? What are you doing the next day? The number one rule to success is schedule everything. Schedule everything. Your personal development, your professional development, schedule everything. In my calendar is I must do this, 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 and this every day. I schedule everything. And so the third thing I talk about is building yourself a personal board of directors. If every major CEO and every company in the world has board meetings that talk about last quarter growth, last quarter sales, this quarter sales, hiring, firing, direction of the company, like every major CEO and every Fortune 500 company has board meetings and board members to drive that company forward. Imagine building a board of directors for your life. Everybody has 5 areas of their life that they have in common. I have maybe 8 or 9 or 10 or 20. You maybe have 11 or 100 or whatever. So we all have 11 team. That's an actual number. It's an actual number. 11 team. So what happens is we have these 5 areas, right? So everybody has these 5 areas. They're wealth and finances, kind of the same thing. Wealth and finances, health, personal relationships, personal development, professional development, your career, and then spirituality, whether you're religious or non-religious. Spirituality is literally your beliefs, principles, and values. That's all spirituality is. So when I talk about spiritual resilience, I'm literally talking about your way of strengthening those set of beliefs, principles, and values. Thoughts, feelings, and beliefs drive all reactions, period. Thoughts, feelings, and beliefs drive all reactions. How we think about the situation drives reactions. How we feel about it, what we believe is right or wrong, drives our decisions. So decisions are always based on those beliefs and those thoughts and feelings. And same thing, they drive our reactions to how we react to every situation. So if we build a board of directors, if we take 1 or maybe 2 people and put those in each of those areas, they will elevate our life. I have a wealth coach. I have a personal development coach. I have pastors that I look towards for my spirituality. And I've got people on my board of directors that suck, are terrible people. But I want them there because it's a reminder of how I don't want to be. I don't want to be that senior NCO. I don't want to be that E7 or E8 or whatever. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that married husband, whatever, who hates or cheats on his wife or whatever. Like I have people in my life that I keep at an arm's distance. Like I don't really talk to them. Hey, what's up? But I keep them there because I'm observing, I'm watching. My mom has had 3 divorces. I would never ask my mom for marriage advice because she's been divorced 3 times. Whether it's her fault or not, doesn't matter. She's had 3 divorces. So whether her pick of men suck or she sucks in her marriage, 3 divorces. My brother-in-law and my sister have been married for 16 or 17 years. As long as I've been actually they got married before I went in the military, so it's probably longer than that. It's got to be at least almost 20 years.
Wow.
So, because I was still in high school and they got married. A couple years later, I joined the Air Force. So I asked them for marriage advice sometimes. I ask my grandparents who've been married for 50, 60 years for marriage advice. Why would I ever ask somebody broke and has a Chapter 13 bankruptcy for financial advice? I don't ask my mom for marriage advice because she failed. So you have to make sure that you put people inside of that board of directors that will elevate your life to an HNL. HNL is whole nother level. That's Southern. You can have that. I won't charge for that. Yeah. Whole, N-U-T-H-A, nother. Whole, apostrophe, H-O-L-E, nother level. I'll give you that for free. I won't even charge for that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Wow. Amazing story. So you went from one point in your life where you were deep down in the valley.
Oh, yeah.
And you
I
were
bounced
like,
off the rock twice. I tell people that I hit rock bottom so hard, I bounced off the rock.
Yeah. And then you're now at this point where you're like, I want to live out life and not just live, but live epically, live
Oh yeah.
successful, and help everybody else do the same. It's just amazing. And that shows how even when you hit rock bottom, there's still an up.
Oh yeah.
There's still an up. It may not be easy the whole entire time while you're going up that mountain, but there's an up and there's hope, even when you think that there's not any hope. With that being said, what would you tell anybody who's watching this who may be in the valley or at rock bottom right now?
My favorite speaker, Les Brown, has a saying that he always says. He says, when you fall down, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And it just, when I think about it, I'm like, how did I land? You know, when I hit rock bottom, was I curled up? Was I face down, just giving, you know, how did I land? And I look at my battle all the way, but I couldn't do it alone. There's no way I could do it alone. That's why the board of directors is so extraordinarily important. You have to put people around you. I hung out with doubters. I hung out with people who didn't believe in God. I hung out with other alcoholics. I hung out with people that were worse than me because I didn't want to feel worse than anybody else. I didn't want to hang out with millionaires because I had negative dollars in my bank account. You know, I've lived paycheck to paycheck almost my whole entire life. I don't want to hang out with people who are absolutely successful and crushing life because I suck. So I'd hang out with people who were less than me or equal to, because it made me feel better. You are the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most. You are the average. So if you hang out with 4 broke people, you're probably the 5th one. If you hang out with people who suck at relationships, you're probably the 5th one. So what you need to do is audit your friends, figure out who you're hanging around, figure out the 5 people that you're hanging around the most, not family, wife, kids. That doesn't count. I'm talking about coworkers, friends, influencers. Figure out who they are, okay? And I'm telling you, you can't do it alone. Like so I tell people that I'm not a success story. I battle every day. I went to one of my friend's weddings September 2nd, and everybody's drinking and everything. I knew I was getting myself into. I knew, but I had some friends there, and they were like, "Hey man, you all right? Like, are you all right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing good. It's a wedding, you know, it's okay. You know, everyone's getting plastered, you know, but then there are people there who don't know me, who I meet for the first time. Like, hey, you want to drink, man? Let's get wasted. Let's drink, you know? And I'm just like, but my friends are there and they're like, no. Come on, man. Let's take a walk. Let's go outside. Like your true friends will always have your best interests above their own, because it could be easy for me to go, you know what? You're right. It's a wedding. It's one time. It's fine. You know, I battle every day. You know, I eat something that reminds me of, because I used to be a cigar smoker. So I eat something like brisket. I'm like, ooh, yeah, give me that salty, meaty juice flavor. Like, ooh, yeah. I'm like, I would go out on the back deck and I would drink an IPA and smoke a cigar. So I eat brisket and I'm just like, oh, man, like, I remember when because those feelings, it's emotional.
Yeah.
You know, the way we behave has an emotional trigger to it. So you smell something and it triggers back to domestic violence or alcohol or a bar or somebody. That's why when people pass away, they can smell a shirt and they're just like, oh, and then memories start flooding in because the smell solicits an emotional trigger. So at first it's tough. Oh, it's tough. Breaking habits are tough, but you have to build yourself a personal board of directors to go with you and help you. Find somebody who is doing what you want to do, making the money you want to make, doing the things that you want to do, and living their purpose, and hook up with them and say, I suck at life. I want to be like you. I want to be where you are. How do I do that? And hook up with them and build an inner circle around what somebody is doing that you want to do. That's what I do. I hang out with speakers that are much, much more on a grander scale, much more on a grander scale than me. You know, Les Brown and Greg Reed. And, you know, I met Frank Shankowitz, who's the Make-A-Wish founder. He was on my radio show. I had Bruce Buffer on my radio show. I'm finding people that are like, dude, I got to find the biggest, baddest. Like, I got to find that person. And that's who I hang around, you know? And if someone is not on my level, I tell them, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going backwards. But what I do is I grab those people that are not doing so well, who want to be with me. I'm like, let's do it. Like, I'm going to elevate you. And I make it a mission to make them better. I don't let them make me better. I make them better. That's the difference. Even though I'm going up, I'm grabbing people along the way. I'm grabbing everybody that I can, and I'm elevating them as I'm growing. And so I'm pouring into them, and people from the top are pouring into me, and it's just like an overflow. Right. And that's what I do. I don't say, oh, you're not on my level. You're not on my level. You know, I don't absolutely do not do that. But I also don't associate, and I don't hang around as friends people who are not doing the things that I want to do.
You set those boundaries. You set healthy boundaries.
Let's go shopping. Like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So for people who are watching this and they look and they say, hey, I want to elevate with Sean, how do they do that?
So I have a website called the Success Corps, C-O-R-P, like the Marine Corps, C-O-R-P-S. What I built was a mastermind community and a training community to where we're just going to elevate every the same time. Because and the tagline is unlock your true potential and you elevate your life. Because I never knew that I loved speaking and training and coaching, and like I never knew any of this stuff. You know, I was like, I'm just going to be a drill instructor and, you know, yell at and scream at little kids, you know, but I fell in love with I never knew that this was in me. I had no idea. You told me this 10 years ago. I'm like, whatever, dude. But come 2009, I unlocked a potential that I had, and I've seized it, and I live it out every day. And you need to do the same thing. So that's why I've designed the Success Corps brand the way I've designed it. So I'm going to help you unlock your true potential and elevate your life and get you to that HNL. Every time we talk, we're going to get you to an HNL. Every time. And we're going to HNL your life. Whole nother level.
I love it. So you said your website. Is there an email address? Is there a special offer for those who are watching this?
Absolutely. So you can email me at Sean, S-E-A-N, like Sean Connery, Sean at the Success Corps, C-O-R-P-S, Sean at thesuccesscorps.com. Email me, send me a message. And anybody who is listening to this, mention this event, mention this recording inside of the email, because this is not for everybody. Email me that you've watched the recording, you saw me with Airial, right? And I will coach you for an entire month for free, right? So after that first month, if you want to keep going, there's a price. And I'm gonna absolutely lower my price because I love veterans. I love it because I'm still serving, you know? So I want to just, like everybody at this event, I just want to elevate everybody. So my normal fee is $497 a month for coaching. I will lower that for these attendees only, 1 month free, and for the second month, we'll do $197.
Wow.
So for $200, for $200,
so
$100 a month.
You can't out offer me. So
I will offer you, Miss Army. Okay. Oh.
So we'll have to work together somewhere in there.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah. And then, you know, my book's on Amazon. Go ahead and buy my book. It's $4.99 for the Kindle. And if you have Prime, I think I've made Amazon Prime free, but really? The paper, I think, I'm not sure, but if you want the paperback, then I will, I think it's $10.99 or something like that on Amazon. Yeah. So I just lowered it for this month. So anyway, $10.99 for the paperback and $4.99 for the Kindle. I just got my worst review like 2 days ago. Guy said it was absolutely garbage, absolutely sucks. He drones on, and this guy is just a book about how he messed up his whole life. I'm like, yeah, it's how you overcome, you know, telling people my story. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
And it was an Air Force guy too. And I was like, oh, you suck, whatever. So that's
something you couldn't blame the Army on.
Right.
Okay. It was one of your own.
I just want to say, and the reason I bring that up for that review, and I'm really trying hard not to sound like egotistical, because I'm really not, and I'm really humble. But I just want to make it known that, you know how much time I've spent wondering why, and like, man, I can't believe I got a bad, like a 1-star, like this book is crap. Like I think that's how it starts out with. But the reason I say that is because I've spent this much time worrying about, oh my God, I got a negative review. Oh my God, what God? Like, focus on the negatives and you're going to live a negative life. Focus on the positives. Out of 12 reviews, I have 11 positive reviews from people I don't even know. There's like 2 people I know that I absolutely know because they say, hey, I read a review, go read my review. But for everybody else, I don't know who those reviews are. And I've got people that I've spoken to at conferences that said my book has changed their life. I've gotten emails.
And you can't please everyone.
And you can't please everybody. Absolutely not. So I spend so little time on the negative people. I've got negative people all the time. Oh, you're not even that great of a speaker. Yeah. Are you speaking? No, you're not. Shut up. Like, I mean, there's so many people that are so negative that you're not going to please them. You couldn't please them. Like, I don't want $1 million. Like, I don't want your charity. Like, I'll take your $1 million. And we go, I'll take your $50.
Okay.
Like, I'm the guy that's like, hey, if you're offering $50, I'll take your $50. Like, that'll go a long way. You know, it's gas money. You know, like, I don't want your charity. I don't want your pity. I'll take your pity. I'll take your $50. Like, I'm that guy. Like, I'll take it. I mean, if you're giving it away, just saying, I'll make a use for it. I'll feed my kids. I'll take them out to a restaurant. I'll feed the homeless. Like, I'll find a way to spend your $50 humanely. You know what I mean? With integrity and dignity.
Right.
But I mean, so yeah, people are like, are you mad? I'm like, why would I be mad? Like, who cares? I got a negative review. Like, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. So I was like, whatever. I focus on the positives, you know, hunt the good stuff in every single situation. That's always my message. Hunt the good stuff in every single situation. There's always something to be thankful for.
Love it. And you know, I want to meet you in person.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you don't stop here on your way to your next speaking gig, we're going to make this happen. Because let me tell you a little story. When I met Sean over the phone through Speaker Match, I had several, at least 10 speakers put in an application. And it was tough for me. And I mean, just vary in abilities and style and everything. But the moment, and there were other veterans too, so I'm not being, you know, picky, but the moment I before I even spoke with you, I saw your YouTube video. And I told my fiance, I said, I want him here. This is the person. And then I almost gave up because nobody just sat right. And then I saw the YouTube video, and then I spoke with you, and I was like, this is it. And then when I decided to make this virtual, I was like, I hope Sean knows that he's going to be my friend forever. That's it.
Absolutely. And so we're in the vetpreneur tribe, because I was like, hey, you got to join this vetpreneur tribe. That's like this brand new tribe is getting built. And within 3 months, it's already like 2,000 veterans that are entrepreneurs. Yeah. I mean, we're literally masterminding with veterans that are just crushing life.
And that's how it should be.
Yep,
Instead
absolutely.
of competing and being mad at somebody. I mean, you're going to get negative reviews, but if somebody was hating on you, why? Instead of hating, find out what they're doing and say, hey, I want to elevate with you, like you said earlier.
Yep.
What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right? How do I need to change my mindset so that I can go higher and live my best life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
You're not getting rid of me.
That's awesome. No, we're connected forever.
Thank you so much. Any last words before we get off?
Just live an epic life. Like, stop dreaming about your dream life and just live it. Take massive action. Today, design a call to action and say, I'm going to take step 1 today. Do something. Don't put it off to tomorrow. Everybody does that. Live your dream life today, and you will elevate. I'm telling you,